What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 6 team builder for the aABL Season 4 Red League. This week we are taking on my good buddy Dom, or Rudiger67, and his Cleveland Escavaliers. So, let's run through his team. He has Landor's Therian, which is his user, Klefki, Vaporeon, Delmise, Alolan Persian, Quillfish, Electivire, which is his user, Mega Absol, Infernape, Haxorus, Tornadus Incarnate, and Kecleon. I wasn't really sure which ones to predict not that he wouldn't bring. I don't think Delmise is going to come. Delmise just sort of doesn't make a ton of sense to me against my team. Skarmory absolutely hard walls that thing completely. Incineroar hard walls it as well. It's okay to deal with something like Mega Gardevoir. Like it's an okay answer to Mega Gardevoir. It's okay against Dusclops, although I can burn it pretty easily with Will-O-Wisp. Weavile completely destroys it with Dual Stab as well, so it's kind of iffy for me. Electivire, another iffy Pokemon for me. It kind of handles Skarmory, it kind of handles Rotom-Wash, it kind of handles Minior, but all of those can sort of deal with Electivire as well. It gets bodied by Serena, which is something. Defensively and offensively, Serena can check it. Unless it's covering carrying fire coverage, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense against my team. Again, Weavile kind of deals with it. Mega Gardevoir kind of deals with it. Nidoking is a really good way to deal with Electivire. So it's a maybe again for me. And Kecleon, another Mon that is sort of a maybe for me. It's hard to predict against my team what I think he's going to bring. I basically think everything could come, but I wanted to sort of lay out some things that I thought were maybe on the less likely side. I think Lando is a guaranteed. I think Infernape is a guaranteed. I think Mega Absol is a guaranteed. I think Klefki and Vaporeon are all guaranteed. I think those 5 are 100% coming. And then from there, I think he could go Alolan Persian, Quillfish, or Tornadus, I think, are the biggest ones for me. Yeah, he has priority in Klefki with Prankster as his ability, Vaporeon with Quick Attack, Persian, Alolan Persian with Fake Out, Quillfish with Aqua Jet, Mega Absol with Sucker Punch, Infernape with Fake Out, Vacuum Wave and Mach Punch, Tornadus with the Prankster ability, and Kecleon with Sucker Punch and Fake Out. Tons of priority on his team. Tons, which is a good reason why I'm bringing Serena, as you'll see on your screen. He has hazards in Landorus with Stealth Rocks, Klefki with Spikes, Quillfish with Spikes and T-Spikes, and Infernape with Stealth Rocks, and Kecleon with Stealth Rocks. He has removal options in Landorus with Defog, Klefki with Defog, Delmise with Rapid Spin, and Tornadus with Defog. The only way I see Delmise coming to this match is if he wants to hazard stack me with Klefki, then he would bring Delmise to spin for himself. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. He has 1 4x weakness, and that's Landorus to Ice. I do think Landorus is going to be packing the Yache Berry. It makes the most sense against my team, I think. I'm predicting like a Double Dance Yache Berry set. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to come out of this game, and so I kind of have to work around that a little bit with my own team. So let's get started with my team, and we'll start with some really cool tech. We're running Weavile with no item, Pickpocket with Ice Shard, Knockoff, Brick Break, and Fake Out. This is my dedicated lead. I can get a Fake Out off on anything. I'll be faster than anything, especially if he wants. He likes to lead Alolan Persian and click Fake Out on Alolan Persian. That's kind of a big thing for him, is Fake Out on Alolan Persian. So I can Fake Out the Alolan Persian, steal its item with Pickpocket because I don't have an item. That's how Pickpocket works, is if this Pokemon has no item, it steals the item off a Pokemon making contact with it. Off a Pokemon making contact with it. Well, now I'm confused and concerned, but I'm kind of just going to roll with it, and we'll see if it works, because that wording makes it feel like they hit me and I steal their item, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm pretty sure it works that I hit them and I take their item, but we'll sort of figure that out in the battle, I guess. Ice Shard is there to pick off things like Tornadus, Landorus, and Haxorus. They're all weak to ice, and it's actually crazy how much work Ice Shard puts in to revenge kill things. I think it's going to be really useful, and Weavile is kind of a monster. Knockoff is really just good stab. He doesn't have anything necessarily weak to dark, like Delmise is his only dark weakness, but he's got Klefki, Alolan Persian, Mega Absol, and Infernape, all his dark resists. So Knockoff's not the best for that, but it's good to catch something switching in and just get rid of some items. Brick Break is there to get rid of Klefki's screens primarily, and also for the Alolan Persian. It's my main way to heal Alolan Persian. It's also there for the Kecleon as well. If he doesn't want to run Shadow Sneak, he might run Shadow Sneak, but I don't really see why you'd Shadow Sneak a Weavile unless you're expecting the fighting coverage, because then I could just knock off and kill. So, yeah, Brick Break's there to hit his dark types and his normal type, pretty much. That's the main reason why it's there. And again, Fake Out is to steal an item turn 1, and I can always Fake Out something else for chip. So we're running double priority on Weavile. 176 speed Jolly lets us outrun his base 115 Mons, which are Alolan Persian and Mega Absol, both of his dark types. So it's really cool. Max attack with 80 in HP, just pretty standard. Mega Weavile, oh my god, I wish. Next up is Rotom-Wash. We're bringing a defensive Rotom-Wash. This is an amazing switch into Landorus. Landorus cannot touch this, essentially. Same with Infernape. Infernape basically can't touch me. It's dangerous with Haxorus because it can Mold Break or Earthquake me. I was considering running a Chocoberry, but I'm not as scared about Haxorus with this team as I am about Infernape or Landorus. As offensive threats, I think they're the biggest things. You'll notice, if you look through his team, that he doesn't have a ton of special threats. I think Tornadus Incarnate is probably the best special threat that he has against my team. So Rotom's kind of my flying resist as well, although I am bringing 2 flying resists and only 1 flying weakness. This is a good way to deal with Tornadus. It's also a really good way to deal with the Vaporeon. I'm running Will-O-Wisp on here to catch the Landorus if it wants to just set up rocks in my face or something like that, then I can burn it. I can burn anything, actually, except for the Mega Absol, which will magic bounce it back, but it's still useful. Hydro Pump is there to be able to hit the Landorus Therian. It's also there to hit the Infernape if I can kind of deal with that. Will-O-Wisp is still good for the Electivire, still good for the Haxorus. I can pop a Lumberry or something still. It's good for the Delmise. If Delmise wants to switch in on a Hydro Pump or a Volt Switch, then I can burn it. Especially if it's like Assault Vest, then it doesn't heal, and it will be taking the residual all the time. So Quillfish as well. I don't think that he would switch in Quillfish on Rotom, but that's a possibility. Volt Switch hits everything on his team, bar Landorus and Electivire. I think Electivire is actually a really good switch in to this, like an Assault Vested Electivire could be a really good switch in. So Will-O-Wisp is good for that too. And Defog is excellent against Spike Stack and Klefki, because I rise above the spikes and I can just defog them away for free, essentially. So we're physically defensive, and I'm running a tiny bit of speed on there, just because Quillfish is 1 base point lower, and he could speed creep. He could put a little bit of speed in over me, running no speed investment, so I just wanted a tiny bit of speed so I could guarantee outspeed Quillfish and like defog T-Spikes away or something like that, or Spike Stack and Quillfish, for example. I'm actually going to skip over this for now, and we'll move on to Serena. Bringing in aABL Serena with Queenly Majesty, he's got so much priority that Serena just switches in on for free. It's pretty hilarious, except for his 2 Prankster users, which are both very scary for my Serena. We're running Synthesis for some reliable recovery. If I can ever use it, then that'd be great. Otherwise, you know, it's not the end of the world. U-Turn is just sort of to pivot out. That's the goal with the Volt Turn this week. Knockoff, again, I think Serena is basically a free switch-in on Vaporeon every single time, in my opinion, and I can knock off whatever his Serena switch-in is. I would imagine it's something like Infernape or Tornadus, and I would love to get rid of both of those items. If it's Klefki, even better. We're running Trop Kick because I don't like missing. Otherwise, Power Whip is probably the play. Power Whip can actually 2-hit KO Infernape. So I may or may not change that before the battle. We'll kind of see. I like the attack lowering abilities from Trop Kick a lot, so that's kind of why I run Trop Kick over Power Whip most of the time. Running max HP with 252 attack and 8 defense, Impish. We tank a Flare Blitz from Infernape with this. Even Banded Infernape cannot OHKO us with aABL and our investment, and we'll be able to knock off or Trop Kick or U-Turn or something like that. I'm kind of trying to bait the Mach Punch on my Weavile, which is what I think is going to happen, because Infernape comes in on Weavile completely for free and gets to Mach Punch me in the face, or Vacuum Whip me in the face if he's special. It's the same deal. We will have a harder time taking a special Infernape hit, and so, you know, he could choose to opt into being special Infernape, but I do think, that physical Infernape is his best bet against my team. Now that I'm thinking about it, special Infernape is pretty good against my team too. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I think we'll sort of have to play by ear as we're in the game. It's not going to be my initial switch into Infernape. That will always be Rotom, but I would like some recovery on Rotom for sure. That would be nice, but I don't really have the room for recovery on Rotom. So that's why we've got recovery on Serena, sort of to make up for Rotom's lack of recovery as a defensive check. Yeah, so that's Serena. Next up is going to actually be... I've skipped over Gardevoir. We'll go back to Gardevoir. So running Mega Gardevoir here with the Trace ability. I'd love to Trace like an Intimidate on the Landorus, or Water Absorb on Vaporeon. I can basically trace the Water Absorb on Vaporeon and get a free switch in, which is really cool. I could trace Motor Drive on Electivire and come in on an Electric Attack too. I don't know what else I could trace really. Magic Bounce on Mega Absol maybe. I don't know what it would want to go for though. Fur Coat on Alolan Persian and tank a hit or something like that, or again Intimidate on Quillfish. He's got an Intimidate core of Quillfish and Landorus, so I think Trace is really useful in this match, and that's sort of why we're running it. Obviously, it's only going to work for like one turn unless I just keep doubling in and out Mega Gardevoir, which I don't think is the play, but it could be actually with this set. So we're running Hyper Voice, which hits everything except Quillfish and Klefki. And then we have Psyshock to hit the Quillfish. So Klefki is a reasonable switch into this. However, it does not get reliable recovery, which is why I can sit in front of this thing for days with Wish and just Wish stall the Klefki and kill it eventually with Psyshock. That's kind of the play. So, or Hyper Voice actually. Hyper Voice may hit it better. It depends on his investment. If he's more specially defensively invested, which I do think he would be because it is basically his only Mega Gardevoir check on his entire team. Haxorus is weak. He's got a lot of stuff that's weak to Fairy. So Klefki's basically his only Fairy resist. Sorry, it's his only Mega Gardevoir resist because Psyshock will hit the Quillfish really well. And I think because Quillfish gets Intimidate, he wouldn't want to run as much defensive investment as special defensive investment. And so, and Psyshock's also there because, again, I want to hit Klefki on both sides to sort of scout out which side it is. I've got the Heal Bell on there as well in case he wants to like prankster T-Wave me with Klefki or something like that. Or T-Wave me with any... I think Tornadus gets T-Wave, doesn't it? I know Thundurus gets T-Wave, but it's an electric type, so I'm not entirely sure. You know, Scald Burns, everything along those lines. A Will-O-Wisp from Infernape or something like that, I don't know. But I'm running Heal Bell just in case he wants to status a bunch of my Mons. Then I can sort of Heal Bell it off. Timid 232 speed lets us outrun Electivire. Nope, Haxorus. I'm outrunning Haxorus. That's what we're outrunning. Unboosted Haxorus, we will outrun. Boosted Haxorus, I think, kills us with the Poison Jabs. That really sucks. But we can kind of play around that. I've got another check to Haxorus on the team, so that's there. Max Special Attack just to hit things stupid hard and 24 in HP. I think that Mega Gardevoir goes in against this team. Mega Gardevoir hasn't been putting in as much work as I'd like it to. I don't know if I built the right team around Mega Gardevoir. I don't want it to be my only offensive threat, and it sort of feels like I run out of offensive threats really quickly in these matches in this league just because I didn't draft a whole lot of them. I think I drafted a fairly mediocre team, to be honest with you. I didn't get a ton of really good picks that I would have liked. I got sniped on Victini early, and I missed out on a lot of stuff by taking, I think, Skarmory round 3. So that's kind of there. Next up is Nidoking. We're on Nidoking. We're bringing a Scarf Nidoking because it's slower than a lot of his threats, and I need to run Scarf to be able to revenge kill those. It's going to get, this match is either going to end with him absolutely destroying me, or it's going to get to a point where Nidoking can click one move, a single move, and sort of decimate his team. So we're running 4. Ice Beam, Earth Power, Thunderbolt, and Sludge Wave. Ice Beam is there for things like Landorus, Haxorus, Tornadus, and Delmise, excuse me. Earth Power is there mainly for the Klefki, but it also hits Infernape and Quillfish and Electivire really well. Thunderbolt is there primarily for the Vaporeon, to be completely honest, because I'd rather click Earth Power on the Quillfish. And once Landorus is weakened or Tornadus is weakened, then that's sort of, I don't know, that's sort of up in the air. But Ice Beam hits both of those, so it's a threat. Sludge Wave is just really good neutral damage for things like Kecleon, Alolan Persian, and Mega Absol. All of those don't get hit super effectively by any of the other coverage, and Sludge Wave is my highest base power move, so it's going to be doing the most damage to those. We're running Timid Max Speed. This lets us speed tie Quillfish, so if for some reason he wants to run Scarf Quillfish, we will speed tie with it, and hopefully be able to absolutely decimate it with Earth Power. Max Special Attack, because obviously we're only running special attacking moves, and I put 4 into defense over special defense, just to maybe tank an Earthquake from Infernape or something. Who knows, right? Like, I'm trying to tank an Earthquake with that foreign defense. I don't know if it'll matter, but who knows. Last but not least is going to be Skarmory, or aCA. Bringing a Rocky Helmet Skarmory with Sturdy, Whirlwind, Rocks, Brave Bird, and Roost. Whirlwind is really good phasing for things like Landorus and Haxorus that can sit up on me. Those are my biggest problems. So I'm not that scared of a Haxorus unless it sets up on me, and if it does set up on me, then Skarmory beats it 1v1 completely. Haxorus does not really get any coverage to be able to hit Skarmory with, and it can't hit me with Earthquake unless I Roost. So that could be really bad, actually. If I do Roost on a Haxorus Earthquake, then I die because he can Mold Breaker through my Sturdy. But I do have the phasing option. I originally had a Roar and Incineroar on here, but I realized that Skarmory is just a better and more reliable Whirlwind user. And even if he wants to switch in Mega Absol, he can Whirlwind me into anything else on my team, which threatens Mega Absol. Mega Absol has a horrible matchup against the mons that I'm bringing, in my opinion. I actually don't think that Mega Absol has a fantastic matchup against my team. I think it's basically his only way to deal with Dusclops, though, which is maybe a big threat to him, actually. Dusclops, like a defensive Dusclops, could handle a lot of his physical attackers really well and sort of like burn things and then pain split up. And Mega Absol is like basically his only way to deal with that, especially if he brings like a special Mega Absol. So I'm not entirely sure. Rocks, okay, so this is another reason why I brought Skarmory over Incineroar, is I kind of want some hazard pressure against him. He does not have a team that's weak to rocks pretty much at all. Tornadus is the only thing that's outright weak to them, and Klefki is the only thing that outright resists... Yeah, Klefki is the only thing that outright resists them. Brave Bird is there for things like Infernape. He doesn't have a ton of flying resists. Electivire and Klefki being his only flying resists. You'll notice that Klefki is kind of a big thing in this matchup. I think Klefki is 100% coming. He's been pretty good at using Klefki this season, although it's mostly been in a utility role, and I think it will have to bring like Flash Cannon. I'm not sure if it gets Steel physical coverage now that I'm thinking about it, but I think it'll have to bring like Flash Cannon to actually be able to hit my Mega Gardevoir. Otherwise, it can't really touch that either. And again, I can stall it out. Running max physically defensive Skarmory, so I'm running a lot of physical defense on Rotom and Skarmory. Again, he's really only got physical attackers, and Skarmory and Rotom both have fantastic matchups in my opinion. So the thing is that it sort of works out perfectly in that my defensive core sort of walls his offensive core, but his defensive core can sort of wall my offensive core. So I think this is going to be a really close match if I was to predict. We're 1-1 against each other, both matches happening in UPBA. UPBA Season 1, he beat me with a banded Azelf, and he absolutely destroyed me. And then UPBA Season 2, I kind of crushed him. What did I crush him with? I think it was Bronzong, mostly. Oh well, I can't really remember what Mon actually put in all the work. Oh, Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom destroyed his team, that's what it was. Anyway, so this is our team, and I will catch you guys for our match.